Welcome to Ask the Professor. I'm your host, Professor Ben, and we go live every Wednesday at 11:45 Eastern so we can get together and talk about all things business and influence, leadership, sales, you name it. We're going to help you through the challenges of the week, whatever it is you're experiencing. And I am joined, thank goodness, by our returning guest, Max Kent. Thank you so much for jumping in. And I say thank goodness for two reasons, Max. One is because we always love having you on the show. You bring so much insight and energy, so we love that part of it. And I also say thank goodness because it's just you and me, man. We're flying solo without our producer, Ari, today. And so that means I'm in charge of the buttons and anything could happen.
Thank you, Ben. Great to have you. Great to be here again. Thanks for welcoming me back. Yeah, what would we do without our people that control everything for us? So yeah.
Oh my gosh, we'll see how this goes. Is all I got to say about that too. But Max, let me give you a proper introduction as well too. So Max, first off, top sales professional. I've seen you in action for years, and always inspired by just the way that you bring sales from almost impossible to close. So guys, listen up to Max's insight. And then of course, also as the founder of Procure Service Limited, I think we call it PSL, right? And that company's been around now for over 3 years, 4 years, and doing amazing.
Yeah, we've survived 3 years, yeah.
Yeah, good deal. So thank you for carving time out of your crazy schedule and being here. So let's get started, man. Let's jump in. Last time we were talking about sales and specifically trade shows. And you came up with the term trade show-itis, is that right?
Trade show-itis, yeah. I've been trying to get someone to pick up on that for years, and I'm glad it's finally happened.
You know, I've seen it in the comments, people actually putting it in quotes and saying, yes, trade show-itis is a real thing, and they have suffered from it just like you and I have, for sure.
Oh, I need to trademark it then. Brilliant.
You know what? T-shirts, bumper stickers, right? The whole 9 yards. We need to get there. So this is the part of the show where normally Ari would tell the audience where to go to listen to that great content from our last show. I'm going to stumble through that and tell everybody just to go to the mybenchmarktraining.com website, and Ask the Professor is one of the first things that you'll see there. And you can go find the show to talk about trade shows and trade show-itis and all the ways to try to overcome trade show-itis, right? So good stuff. Today we're talking about ghosting, preferably preventing ghosting from happening to begin with, because that is such a common thing in sales. So Max, I'll put you on the spot here just a little bit. What's your experience with ghosting? Why is it happening? Is it happening to everybody? What's ghosting all about?
Okay, so ghosting is actually quite a new term, isn't it, really? It's probably of the iPhone age, that sort of term, where it used to be someone's ignoring me and not replying to my messages. Ghosting is I guess, the term for that. You used to get it in the streets where people would blank you. So you'd walk past someone you know and they wouldn't look at you. So, you know, I always used to find that funny if someone just ignored you completely. I think there's a number of reasons for it, but we can get into probably the psychology behind it, and maybe there's some fear factor of responding, especially if they know it's a salesperson. But what we're talking about here is you send normally a direct message or an email, or you leave a voicemail for someone, leave some kind of sales action, some kind of sales approach, and even if you put all that energy into it, you think this is my ideal client profile, I've put together a really personal message, it's not copy and paste, it's really direct to this person, it should really resonate with them, and nothing. You get crickets, nothing at all, nothing back, and you just think, why are they ignoring me completely? I was really polite, I was really nice and direct to them, and I think there's this fear sometimes we see with it's a salesperson, I don't know what to do. It's almost like a rabbit in the headlights kind of shock action, where they think if I respond, they're going to try and sell me something. I don't want to give anything away, so the best action is to do nothing. And sometimes that can affect the credibility of the person. It can make them look unintentionally like they're being rude, ignoring people, and it can salespeople are human, so to be ghosted like that, I think sometimes can be, you get a thick skin, but sometimes you sort of have those passing thoughts of, why are they ignoring me? why am I being ghosted?
Yeah.
You know, I started off doing cold calling. So it would be, they had no choice they couldn't ignore you because you walked in through the door in your suit and tie to say, I'm here to sell you something. So they wouldn't ghost you. They'd just tell you where to go. So that was, you know, I don't know what's worse. Probably at least, isn't it?
I think you're right. And there's so much to unpack with what you just said. First and foremost, I don't think I knew that you started in sales back in the day and knocking on doors and cold calling. Of course, I did the same. And man, like that is how you really, get your teeth cut in and build the things that you need to build to be good at sales. For those of you listening to the show who are doing those cold callings face to face, hang in there, get better at it. And there is definitely a lot that you're going to learn that's going to be applicable to any career move that you do next as you grow in your career. So that's a big one. And then you said, the customers, while you're talking to them, they feel like they should say yes to everything you're asking. Yeah, this is great. Yes, we're interested. And you, as a salesperson, you're thinking this call is going great. And I'm sure that the follow-up and the next steps and stages in the sales process are going to be just as great. And it turns out, no, that's not the answer. They are ghosting you. They're not going to be there. So they're not returning your calls, not returning your emails. And here's the thing that I think is really interesting, Max. Tell me if you see this. I've seen salespeople that essentially pride themselves in how good they are at follow-up, how good they are at, call it the cat and mouse game of sales. It's almost like they intentionally put themselves in that position because they think that's what you're supposed to do when it comes to sales. You're supposed to chase down your rabbit or chase down your prospect. And if you're good at chasing down prospects, you're going to be good at closing deals. And I'd say, why make our job so hard? Why put ourselves in that situation where we have to chase people down?
Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes you don't even know. I think a salesperson, and I've been on both sides of the sort of sales process. I've been in procurement as well, cost management, and some of those roles where I've had salespeople selling to me, which I'm always a bit of a sucker for because I've been on the sales side. So I'm a bit more kind of, I think, well, they're trying their best, so let's give them a chance. Whereas, probably I should have been or should be more procurement led with those sort of things and just go on what the deal is and what the salesperson's trying to say to you. But I've been in sales calls where the first hour was great and you're ready to buy it, and then they carried on talking for another hour and talked themselves out of the deal. So and that's the sort of sales process that I've been involved in the other side of, where I probably did ghost the person, or I probably gave very short responses to their follow-up to it, and they probably didn't know what they'd done, because that's quite a hard thing to say to someone when they've given you a 2-hour meeting, thought it went really well, and the reasons why it didn't, and not it's sort of probably a bit personal to say to people, but it's probably what they needed. If you go back to the cold calling thing, when I started in sales, I was doing 35. I was targeted on doing 35 brand new cold calls a day. Had to win 10 of those a month, £1,000 every month. And I think it probably took me at least 2 months to win the first deal. So that's 2 months of 35 calls a day, knocking on new doors, getting the compliment slips. And every single time they go, well, we use someone else. Don't know how you got in here. There's the door. And
absolutely,
so that's where you build up a thick skin from that sort of stuff. So like I said, it's not, I'd rather have a response, I'd rather have a no than a nothing. And I think that's the key point is where you get ghosted and you just don't know what's going on. So the instinct of the salesperson is to chase that down, send another follow-up, send another message. I've got some already on my LinkedIn at the moment where I'm just being busy and I haven't had a chance to read what they've said, look at the link they've sent me, watch the video they've sent me, look at it. Sometimes, I might be really interested, and it just takes me time, because I've got lots of other things going on to get to that. And then I'll see another message. Every time I log into LinkedIn, I'll see another message. And I think you're pushing me further and further away from actually wanting to do this, because you just you're just looking desperate and wanting to chase this down. And my experience has been that any successful salesperson is already busy delivering on their pipeline. So they haven't got time to chase. They've got time to tell you, this is what I'm selling. Are you interested or not? They might have if they're good, they've probably got a planned follow-up, maybe a month later, or an agreed sort of cadence. And then they'll come back to you with did you read it or not? Are you interested? They're not going to keep chasing it because they've got other fish to fry. So this is probably the difference, I would say. What do you think?
I think you're 100% spot on, and you're really driving the point home. As salespeople, our job is not to be expert cat and mouse people, right? Chasers, to chase the rabbit. Our goal is to help people solve problems, help ferry them through the buying process if there is a fit. And so we've got to take control of that from the very beginning, right? From the very beginning. So I would say the first and foremost, and I love when I'm working with salespeople, the seeing their eyes just completely go still, like you said, rabbit in the headlights. When I say, okay, so you had a great meeting, and you covered all the points that you prepped for, you gathered the information you needed to gather. Did you schedule the next meeting before you left the one you were in? And their eyes just go blank and like, oh, I forgot to do that, right? So the first and foremost, when you are talking to a prospect, you're doing your first call, your demo, whatever you call it in your stage, do not leave that meeting without the next meeting scheduled on the calendar, on the diary, right? Because as soon as you do that, you are now entering the cat and mouse game. And all those things that Max, that you were just talking about, making yourself look bad as a sales professional and just wasting time instead of closing pipeline, that's what's happening, right? So we don't want to be in that situation. So always, before you leave that meeting, schedule the next meeting. And Max, I think you've had some success with that, haven't you?
Well, you learn the hard. I learned the hard way with that, and that was again doing that cold calling. I'd be out and I'd have to do field accompaniment visits with my sales manager. This is when I first started. I was probably about 26 years old, so that's 20 years ago now. I was out doing that.
Yeah.
So going out on the first calls, and I was really green in sales, so I'd go in and go through all the scripts I'd learned, come out with a compliment slip, and my sales manager goes, "Did you book the next appointment?" And I'd go, "Oh no," and they go, "Get back in there." So I'd have to go back in and go, "Look, I'm really sorry. You've already gone through this meeting with me. I'm grateful for your time. I forgot to do this. Can I book you in?" And a lot of the time they'd feel sorry for me, and kind of that would actually work really, really well. But it would much better if you were professional, did it in the meeting. So as a rule, now I'm in, sort of different sales and business development, partnership roles, running my own business. It's just a matter of course, you do that in every single call. It's really easy to do. Just say, let's get the diary out now. Let's look at dates. People are always open to it. They always want to leave with something. Unless they're really not interested, they'll tell you. But what is the next action? And I think more than that, but more than just booking the meeting, what I was always been told is make sure there's a follow-up action that's on the meeting. So if you're sending an Outlook invite, put that action on there so that you open it up and go, this is what we're talking about. So they're less likely to cancel that meeting then, because they remember the reason that you gave them last time to turn up to the call.
Oh man, yes, I think everyone in the audience is going, okay. First of all, we do have an audience member. Iris, Andy, thank you for jumping in. We've seen you on the show before, and she's like, hey, I love that rule. Definitely a good rule to live by. So add that to your sales toolbox, Iris, Andy, for sure. So you're great point there, Max. I'm sure a lot of people from the audience are going, okay, so I'll make sure that I book the appointment, or maybe I have booked the appointments before, but they don't show. And so it was a waste of time for me to even book that appointment to begin with. So we want to make sure that we solve for this. Also, I'd be remiss if I didn't give a kudos to whoever your boss was 20 years ago, who made you go back in and get that appointment. What a great, just a great opportunity for you to develop and to realize like how important it is to do that. I've got to go there with my tail between my legs and go get that appointment back. I mean, that is absolutely huge. And what the truth of the matter is that prospects, if they're interested in buying, they want you to help manage this process. And part of managing this process is making sure that the next meetings are aligned, the next steps, the next purposes are aligned, right? So just leaving the meeting without that next meeting scheduled, if they're really interested, they're going to look at you like you're dropping the ball.
Yeah.
And
Like,
you also
like you
said
can't
something
be
earlier,
bothered.
Max, which is I'd rather, yeah, like what they don't want to be the rabbit being chased down. You said something also really interesting at the top of this show, Max, where you said, I'd rather get a no than have to go chase somebody down.
Yeah,
And so when you
absolutely.
bring that meeting to a point, to schedule the next one, that is their opportunity for them to say, yes, I'm interested, or no, I'm not interested. And either way, you're in a better place than if you're just entering the cat and mouse game by not scheduling that meeting. Right.
Absolutely.
Such
It's
an
when your
important part.
objection handling kicks in, really, isn't it? So if they say no to it, you can then take them around the objection handling and work out what is it that you need to overcome to get that next action in the diary. And if it's really not a fit, then at least you've qualified them out at that stage.
That is the best place to be. Qualify them out right then and there instead of entering the cat and mouse chase down game, for sure. And so we're in a better place, right? We pinpoint them down to schedule the next meeting. So let's answer the other question you brought up, Max. You're reading my mind, which is, okay, so I did schedule the meeting. They did say yes, but they're not showing up for my meetings, right? So one of the most important things that we have to do is make sure that that next meeting is clearly centered around what's in it for the prospect, right? That WIFM, what's in it for me? That's the only thing our prospects care about. And let's be honest with each other. It's the only thing any of us care about is what's in it for me. So that next meeting has to clearly fulfill that need of the prospect, which is, oh, what's in it for me? Okay, there is something in it for me in this next meeting. I'm going to agree to be there. And in fact, I can't wait to be there because there is something clearly in it for me.
Yeah. Now, this is where the best salespeople really drive success, because they've got the confidence. So they got past the most difficult bit, which is getting through the door or getting that first reply, getting that first response to say, okay, right, I'm willing to talk to you. So great, that person is engaged. So forget about the fact that you're a salesperson and you're trying to sell them something and they're working out if you're trying to rip them off or something like that. It's not about that. Have some confidence in the product you're selling, your own ability, and the fact that they actually want to have the meeting with you. Otherwise, they would have said no. So they are looking to buy whatever you are selling. They're interested in it. They want to know more about it, and they want you to lead them through that process. And if it gets to the stage where perhaps they have to tender it, it's a competition. So in the UK and the public sector, they can't just buy a product. They would, if it's over a certain value, they have to go to market. But
Right.
a relationship goes a long way. People buy from people, and you're the first probably impression of that company that they've got. So have that professionalism and that confidence to go, okay, we're past that bit where I could get rejected, and sort of get past and over that and into the meeting itself. So I'm going to now show you all of the things that you want to see in the product. I'm going to talk to you about all of the things that would be a benefit to you. And every time I get one, I'm going to note that down, come back to it. And going back to that first sales role I was in, another thing they taught me was we'd have little cards and we'd have 3 points on the back of it. So you'd write down the appointment, you'd flip the card over, and you'd have 3 benefit points that you would be going back to the next meeting on. So in our next meeting, we've agreed that we'll talk about your pricing on X item. We'll talk about your deliveries that you need to get scheduled. We'll talk about your web ordering, for example. You'd leave that with them, and when you come back, they would go. They wouldn't even need to remember what the meeting's about, because you'd pull the card out from the desk and go, remember we agreed these things. It really helps, because if they've got those value points in there, they're far less likely to cancel the meeting, because they'll see all those things if they need that reminder and go, oh yeah, we spoke about those things. Yeah, I'm really interested in that. Remember it all. Half the time people cancel a meeting because they can't actually remember what it's about. They're so busy a lot of the time, buyers, procurement, they'll just go, yeah, I think I got on with that guy or that person, and it was a great meeting, but I honestly can't remember what he was saying to me. And I'm busy now anyway, so let's just cancel it out of the diary. And a lot of people just don't think twice about that, and you've lost all that momentum by that point.